Hello everybody, Tracy Brown here. It's Monday, and I know you're watching this. You could be watching this any time of the week. I understand that, but anyway, so Tracy Brown, your somatic nutrition therapist and attuned eating and body image specialist, and we are talking today about essentially being intentional. Like, how are we starting off? I chose this topic for Monday just because it feels like, how often do we wake up on a Monday morning, or just on a transition period in general, and just sit there and like, I don't know what I'm doing or what I'm supposed to be working on or what's my point today? And I don't want that for you. So I thought that maybe we start off right today, this morning, and do it with me. What are your plans today in terms of what you would like to see happen? What do we want to make room for in your day, in your week? In whatever period you're at in your recovery or your intuitive eating journey. And so what that means is, how do you start off your day? So for me, like this morning, I've been taking a little extra time to think about what's the intent for this week? What do people need and want to hear about? I'm working on some really great stuff for the holidays. So, if my end goal is here to, I got a holiday course that I'm going to be giving away for free. I'm super excited about. And then I've got some other stuff going on with my group that I want to share with you. All this stuff will be kind of coming in November. But if I want to be able to provide that for you all, like what is that? So it's October. If that's the goal over here, if you're working backwards, what are the little steps essentially? And so I want you to, I know that's very cognitive and it's very heady, but sometimes when we're also learning how to be more in our bodies and more embodied, sometimes we've got to start somewhere. And that's where, for example, like I don't really know exactly where my hunger and fullness is or how to find it or what's going on. Okay, so essentially if let's say that you're not quite eating enough, your signals aren't quite accurate, what would be something you could do to get that more clear for yourself? What would be something you would do? So that might mean, for example, that you are going the next step with your consistent eating, or maybe you have not a schedule, but maybe a little bit of a rough containment or structure. And then if that's been difficult, break it down another step, which is, okay, so what would make this easier? And maybe you discover if I just got groceries more often, then I would probably eat the food. Or let's say it's something else where you are struggling with like finding that edge with your fullness. And if you're sure you're eating enough, let's say, and if you've been struggling with finding fullness for a really long time, I would say, well, we need to work on, here's a fancy word for y'all, it's called proprioception and interoception, 2 terms. Basically, do you know where you are in space? Can you feel that there's things around you? And do you know what's going on internally? And that's sometimes the inner one is more difficult. And so what are some ways you might help slow yourself down to get more awareness of your edges? And I use my hands a lot because, it's almost like when you're in your body and you're swimming around, everything feels so big and vast and you can't find the edge. What this is, it's like, okay, so what would close that box, that big spaciousness in a little bit so you could feel more specifically what you need to find. And for some people that might be checking in more often, whether it's in a meal, whether it's in a day. And let's say, okay, I know I need to do that, but I'm not doing it. I'm like, okay, so what keeps us from doing that? It could be, gosh, I just work through meals, or I keep myself so scheduled, or, oh gosh, I just lose track of time. So in any of those scenarios, what do you need to do to remind yourself? So be creative there and see if you can think of some things you could do. What else can I say about any of that stuff? It's thinking about like what your goal is, and you keep breaking it down. So if you can't do step, let's say A is the first step and Z is the last one. I mean, there's not really an end goal here, but like a finish line. We're always learning. But let's say that like you want to be, gosh, you really want to be at H. But you really haven't done G and F and E yet, so you might have to back up a couple steps to do those to make H just like your new autopilot, your new something you can do. Okay? For you, it may be, if your issue is around like I'm just don't want to gain weight or afraid about weight gain, then you really need to look at what feels like will happen if I do. You really need to do that inner work and feel not just the heady stuff though, because most of my clients, I would say 75%, have some insight and understanding as to what they're afraid that we mean about it. They'll lose their specialness, they won't get congratulations anymore, whatever it is. So we need to be able to feel the sensation of that to release that charge. Because otherwise, we walk around for decades with lots of insight, but it's still like a charge in our system that every time you do something different with your food, you get scared. So that that's your daily work, is to like take 2 seconds a day and just feel into your sensations. I have a really good audio series about this, like basically getting more comfortable in your own skin, just from a sensation perspective. I'll link that below just to see if that would be something. I mean, I think these audios are really great. I created these, I think, last year, and I just keep getting good feedback, so they must be helpful. But anyway, I'll link that below to see if that might be a help. That's something tangible you can do. I mean, I try not to create audios. My longest audio is 20 minutes. I try to keep them like my videos, 5 to 20 minutes, everything, to where it feels like it can fit in our life. Like you could lay in bed for 5 to 20 minutes before you even got your day going and do these, So it's like something you can really tangibly do that helps you be more in and grow your window of tolerance for the discomforts that we tend to either numb out or run away from, and that's the thing that keeps us looping with food and body image and weight worry, is that like we touch a little bit and then we get scared and we pop out because sometimes we don't really always have like a place that feels good to lean on when it feels uncomfortable, and so much of this process is learning that. We learn that through our food experiences, and then we also learn it through these relational ones. So anyway, I hope this video was really helpful. I really want us to, take each day, like, okay, what do I need? What does my body need to be more embodied today? And so this week is going to be all about action from a place of, sometimes it's not like I'm physically doing something like, it doesn't have to be certain exercises you're doing, not physical exercises, but it doesn't have to be every day I'm doing X, Y, Z. It's like sometimes it's just, can I sit and be? That may be your big edge. Can I do that for 5 minutes and just see what happens? I don't have to change anything even. So anyway, this is actually very similar, and I'm doing a lot of generalities today, just so I can help the biggest variety of you. But on an individual level, this is very similar to what happens in session. We just get a lot more specific for a person's, based on their past, what they've already done, what's worked, what's not, and to kind of keep growing that level of safety in our systems moving forward. So anyway, I hope this was helpful. And if it was, please share it with somebody that just needs to hear, like, hey, let's start with one thing today we can do, like one action thing. And sometimes the action is just a choice for more awareness. So that's it. All right, take care. I'll talk to y'all soon.